What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Joint, the dumbest channel in the whole YTPC. Today, we're going to go on a rescue mission. Stay tuned. What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Joint, where today we're not talking about pipes or tobacco. What we're starting today is we're going to embark upon a rescue mission. And what kind of a rescue mission, you might ask? Well, we're going to go on a Hoopty rescue mission. I have to say that I'm sometimes a little bit too heavily influenced by people that I watch on YouTube. And I have a feeling that that's what's caused this.
I'm not a good influence on you guys.
Now, I didn't just buy this just because I felt like wasting a bunch of money and fixing a car that's hopelessly broke. It's not the reason behind this. My son is actually coming of age to drive. So, I decided to get him something cool, something maybe a little bit hard to find, something that, none of his other friends are going to have, and something that him and I can bond over. And I figured this might do the trick. This is a 96 Camaro RS. So what made a Camaro RS? Oh, it's a convertible, by the way, if you hadn't noticed. So what makes a Camaro RS? Well, basically, it's a 6-cylinder Camaro with a fancy badge, a spoiler on the back, and a fancy ground effects kit. That's pretty much all there was to it. So they first put the 4th generation Camaro of this style out in '93. And honestly, they went through basically the end of the run in 2003 with this particular body style. However, I'll say, out of all of them, I tend to like the earlier ones better. And it's kind of getting hard to find good, clean examples of the earlier ones. Now, this looks pretty good. It looks pretty clean. As you'll see, it does have some issues, but I think that we'll be able to bring it back from the brink. Overall, as you can see, it's fairly clean on the inside. It's got a nice dark black and charcoal interior. All in all, it's not too shabby. There are some things in here that need to be worked over. Obviously, the dash is plastic, so it's cracked all to heck. But we can deal with that. The sun visors are, well, let's just say, hanging on by a thread. But again, that's something that is pretty fixable. It's pretty nice. The seats don't have any tears in them. It has 122,388 miles on it, but honestly, that's a lie because somewhere along the line, somebody rolled back the odometer on this particular car by about 30,000 miles. But that's okay. We know what's going on, and this car was not really meant to be any type of a collector. Just a cool car for a teenage kid. Yeah, it doesn't start first try. There we go. All right. Dropping the top on the 96 Camaro RS. Nice thing is the top is actually in pretty decent shape and it works pretty good. And on a nice day such as this, it's a really nice thing to have. Drop the top, let's just put the windows down. Now, as you can see, the back seat of a Camaro is not any place that you'd want to be spending any amount of time. However, as far as a 96 Camaro goes with 150-something thousand miles on it, it's really not in bad shape. Normally you'd have some seat wear right here, and the seats, the upholstery is all pretty decent. The plastic on the inside of this is about what you'd expect for a car of this age. And the button here is broken, which is fixable. I plan on 3D printing a fix for that. And we got a busted seatbelt buckle here, which is, again, fixable. but everything pretty much for the most part works. Running and driving Camaro RS. So, issues. Obviously, this car has some issues. But to talk about the issues, I think what we should do is actually just go take a spin and discuss that a little bit further in detail. Excuse me while I light my pipe. Now we're going to talk about some of the issues that this car has. The tilt wheel has an issue where it doesn't lock down very good. So sometimes it's a little disconcerting when you're driving around and, you know, trying to park or something. It's got an aftermarket radio, which works. It's got the Bluetooth in it, so you know you can talk on your phone, stream music, or do whatever you want to. So that's kind of a plus. But one of the big issues that this car has is that the door locks do not work. The key fobs do not work. Now, the key fobs, they did work when I first got this thing, but then about a day later, they just kind of decided to quit. Another thing, and right after that actually, is when the door locks decided to quit. Like, you could push the buttons and you can hear the relay, but nothing happens. Another thing that this car has an issue with is something that I suspect a lot of old cars have an issue with, and that is the steering. Like, I can turn the steering wheel, oh, we're going around a corner. I can turn the steering wheel about this much and nothing happens, which means there is very likely some tie rod ends out or something up there. And in addition to that, the alignment is just total crap, and so the thing gets a little squirrely when you get it up to speed or when you have heavy acceleration or whatnot. But also the tires, since the alignment is so shot, the tires are just worn out in funny ways. But I did not pay that much for this car. Originally, this car, a Camaro RS in 1996, started at $22,720, I think. I paid $4,000 for this car. Now, $4,000 is probably about the right amount of money to pay for a 6-cylinder Camaro RS, but I look at it not necessarily as an investment financially, but it's more of an investment in my son and my relationship. So I'm fully aware that I'm going to have to spend some money to get this car properly sorted, but at the end of the day, I feel like it'll be well worth it, even if I have to spend another $1,000 to get there, which probably will happen. I'm probably gonna spend upwards of $1,000 pretty easily just on the random things that are going on. The door locks, the steering wheel, there's also the check engine light is on, of course, as with pretty much any car of this age that hasn't been properly taken care of. The codes are for O2 sensors and some evaporative system fault. Hopefully they're not too terribly expensive to take care of, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, a couple other things that I think need to be looked at is the exhaust sounds a little bit funny. Sometimes when you first start it up, it does not start right away. You crank it for a couple seconds, then you let off, and then you crank it again and it starts up. It's never left me sitting. I've had this thing for about a month now. But just annoying things like that. The thing about this car is that it's really close to being a collectible classic. And honestly, if you go out trying to look for one of these, you'll find that it's getting kind of hard to find them. You know, I kind of made the decision that I wanted to get my son something cool, something sort of like this, either a Camaro, a Firebird, or a Mustang. And this one just happened to pop up at the right time for the right amount of money. And, you know, at first glance, it does not appear that it's been just beat to hell. So, you know, obviously it's got issues, but for the most part, it's a fairly clean car, and I'm pretty happy with this. So we'll have to see how things progress from here. So this has the GM 3800 V6 engine, whatever it is. It's basically a 3.8 liter V6 engine. And when it was new, it produced 200 horsepower. And I suspect that a lot of those horses have since left the barn. But overall, it's not too bad. You know, I wasn't about to buy my son a Camaro with a V8 or, you know, the SS version anyway. That's just irresponsible if you ask me. Is it irresponsible to get him something like this? Yeah, some might argue so, because it's cool and it still gives the temptation of, you know, trying to drive it fast. But what I suspect is that this car will become something that he respects because he likes it so much. And, you know, he'll respect it, hopefully, because, you know, Dad got it for him. That's one of the major things. I got this because I always want him to look at this car, drive this car, and think of his old man, which hopefully that happens. When I was in high school and these first came out, I was more of a Mustang guy. My first car was a 87 Mustang, and it had the 4-cylinder from that era, which I think was like a 2.3 liter inline 4, and it was a gutless dog, but I still liked it anyway because, you know, it looked cool. And that's kind of what this is. It's not the most powerful car, but it looks cool. It's fun. It's especially fun with the top down. But when I was in high school, since I was more of a Mustang guy, I kind of didn't like these when they first came out. You know, they seemed kind of pointy, if you'd ask me. And I don't know, the dudes that tended to drive these kind of were, well, you know what I'm saying. Stereotypes exist for a reason, people. Let's just say that. But, you know, the more the time has gone by, the more I look at these, I look back at just this era of car in a fond way. Like, these cars here, they're Mustangs of this era, or Fox body Mustangs, they're kind of going up in price. And I guess a Fox body Mustang is like a little bit before the time of this car. By the time 96 had arrived, Mustangs had changed body style. But like this era of car from the mid to late 90s, they're still pretty cheap. You can still get them for a decent price. And if you look, it's actually not terribly hard to find decent examples. Now, like I said, this particular car here, they are getting kind of hard to find, Camaros in specific. But, you know, if you look long enough and hard enough, you can still find them, and they're not expensive. That's the thing. They're not really expensive like a lot of older, more classic cars are. And one of the reasons I kind of wanted to get this is because you kind of get in before it gets expensive. All right, well, I think that that about does it for video number 1 in the Hoopty rescue mission. Now that I'm back at the house and have been invaded by the female offspring here, it's time to cut this video off. So until next time, after I have this car in the shop, I'll make another update video to just tell you exactly what they found that was wrong with it and how much it cost to fix it. So until next time, we'll see you guys later. That's it.
Really cringy.
Hey, you know, I don't call myself the dumbest pipe channel on YouTube for no reason. I cringe is my currency.